Welcome back, everybody, to the Fantasy Hockey Hacks. I want to say podcast, but it's the YouTube channel, Bruce.
It's the YouTube channel today.
Something different. For the first time ever, yeah. We thought end of the regular season, we might as well try something a little bit different. I guess we're going to talk about some DFS stuff, Bruce. We're going to talk about some sports betting. We're going to talk about NHL playoff hockey. And I guess we'll mix in some fantasy hockey every once in a while too, hey?
Absolutely.
Hopefully people don't mind looking at our faces. I know we're both set for radio, but what do you do?
It's a good glare off the head there.
Yeah, there you go. Well, we're going to try and keep this quick, right? We want to try and do these on a daily basis. Typically, we're going to try and do them at lunchtime so that people get the information out in the afternoon and well before games start at 5 p.m. Central. And yeah, 15 minutes max, right? We want to keep this quick.
Absolutely.
Alrighty, so with that, let's get to it. So here we go, DFS and game bets for May 3rd, starting with the Pittsburgh Penguins and the New York Rangers. We've got plus 120 on the money line for Pittsburgh and minus 140 on the money line for the New York Rangers. I kind of flipped back and forth on this one, Bruce. I almost went Pittsburgh this afternoon.
Almost?
I thought about it, and I'll tell you why. Casey DeSmith has actually been 4-2-1 with a 2.42 GAA and a 933 save percentage in the month of April. So for as much as people want to say, and it's absolutely true that Shesterkin wins the goaltending matchup there, but Shesterkin, Casey DeSmith is not quite as bad as people like to think. And given the veteran lineup the Pittsburgh Penguins have, I think they've got a shot. It's going to be a close game tonight.
Yeah, the game, I think the whole series itself is going to be close too. So,
and I want to say that we both took the Rangers in our bracket, though.
Yeah, I did.
I think I did as well. So the expectation there is that we'll see the Rangers take this one at the end of the day.
I believe so.
Okay, so there you go. Bruce's pick as well for the Pittsburgh Penguins or for the New York Rangers. Plus money, the Penguins aren't a terrible bet today, I don't think.
Yeah, no, like you said, they got a veteran lineup. Like they're, other than Jari, they're basically healthy, right? So the big three are going to be there: Crosby, Letang, and Malkin. So, and it's going to be a good tilt.
Alrighty, good stuff there. Next up, the Washington Capitals and the Florida Panthers. We got the Florida Panthers at minus 260 on the money line. Heavy favorites in this one, as the Capitals are plus 205 on the money line. And the big story here has to be goaltending, I think.
Absolutely.
It's been just brutal for the Capitals this year. They've been flipping back and forth between Vanacek and Samsonov. They finally gave the nod to Vanacek here, though. What do you think of that?
Not really surprising. Of the two this season, he's had the better. I think he's had the better season. Whether I'm not sure if that's backed up statistically or not, but at least eye test wise, it looks like he's been better overall over the regular season. So give him the nod going into the playoffs here. And then on the Florida side, it's like Bob had some time off there, so Spencer Knight was playing. So see what happens on that side. I think it's Bob is starting. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's what I had heard last. And he's been solid this year, Bobrovsky, actually, to his credit.
A lot better than last year, right? Because last year it was all over the place.
Yeah. Well, and Spencer Knight, so he was on our Fantasy Zero list that on the podcast on Sunday. He was great in April, right? I think he had a 6-0-1 record in the month of April. But the rest of the season, he kind of just left you wanting a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, as it surprised some of us that Bob came out of the gates really good at the beginning of the season. Most of us were not expecting that. We kind of expect him to get a couple of starts in and then falter, and then Knight would take over, right? And well, that just didn't happen. So he just started hot, and he played well throughout the season, and then they gave him a bit of rest here at the end and let Knight play, and Knight has played well. So, but yeah, it's Bob until he falls apart.
And in terms of goal scoring, Florida's pretty much just been scoring at will. I think they're averaging. Did it shake out? It was just over 4.5 goals, I thought. Somewhere in that range anyway. So, yeah, it's been scary how much they can score, and they've got all their guys healthy and up and running. Sounds like Aaron Ekblad is going to play tonight, so that's a big boost for them on the back end.
That's big for them, and that's bad for the Capitals.
Absolutely. And sorry, Bruce, worse yet, I was going to say is that Aaron Ekblad, Alex Ovechkin is in, but we don't know the extent of his injury, whether or not he's actually healthy.
Is he half in or 3/4 in or all in? We're not sure how much of him is actually going to be there, and that's And that's going to be big for Washington because we know Florida is going to score. It's just the matter that can Washington keep up? That is the question.
Yeah. So even at plus 205, the juice is not worth it in my opinion. So I'm gonna take Florida for the win here, and obviously the series. Bruce, you felt the same way.
I did the same. Yes.
Next up, Nashville and the Avalanche, and this is, I think, the most lopsided series in the playoffs. Plus 200 on the money line. I got to check that. I don't know if that's actually accurate for Nashville, but minus 330 for Colorado is accurate here, and they're heavily favored. The article that we mentioned in our podcast on Sunday, Dom Lucian has, I think it's 92% probability for the Avalanche to walk away with that series. I had them in 5. I think. Did you have them in 5 as well?
I have them in 5. Yep, that was my pick. Something interesting I read today though is they say that Saros could be back for Game 3. So what would make things real interesting here is if Nashville could somehow get a split in the first 2 and head home with a split and they get Saros back.
Yep.
My pick could look terrible here all of a sudden.
Well, I think it's going to blow up a lot of people's brackets if somehow Saros comes back and steals a few games and Nashville upsets the Avalanche in the first round here.
Yeah, like they said they look at the season record, right, and did think Nashville won the series this year against Colorado. I can't remember what
I want to say it was 3-0 or 3-1 or something. They actually walked away with the season series pretty handily.
Yeah, so if they can get, and I guess it depends on how Rittich will do tonight, but if they get Saros back and Yossi and Forsberg and Duchesne, it could be, and too, Duchesne's playing against his old team, right? I picked Colorado to walk over these guys, but it could blow my bracket in a hurry.
It absolutely could. So that might have been, I'm just looking here at the series line. It's actually plus 450 for Nashville. And so we talked about that again on Sunday. So, I mean, those are nice odds. So that's pretty juicy. Now, obviously they're huge underdogs for a reason, but like I said earlier this week, they play physical, right? They're a big team. Mm-hmm. They can fight, they can hit, they can score.
And that's what Vegas, sorry.
No, go ahead.
That's what Vegas did to them last year, right? And the first couple of games, it was all Colorado. Well, the first game was all Colorado, and then you could just see it just slowly turned. And by the end of the series, Vegas was just hammering them.
Yeah. All right. So updated lines here for this game. It's plus 275 for Nashville and minus 350 for the Avalanche.
Oh, wow.
So no surprise here. I'm going to take the Avalanche tonight, and you are also taking the Avalanche. Yep.
I sure am.
Okay, next up here, Dallas and Calgary. So obviously the Stars at plus 195 on the money line and minus 240. Big, heavy favorites here, Calgary. I'm taking Calgary tonight, and you are as well.
Yeah.
I think you said you were being generous when you thought this would be a 5-game series.
I just, based on the way Dallas kind of backed into the playoffs here, I'm not confident that Dallas will win more than one game. I'm not sure that they'll actually win a game, but we'll wait and see.
I mean, that remains to be seen. Jake Ottinger is a capable goaltender in his own right, but the thing is, he's never played in the playoffs, right? He's a rookie goaltender.
And Dallas as a whole has not really played well. They've played stretches of games they've played well, but they've not played well for an entire game.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens here if they can step up and meet the challenge, because Calgary's going to come fast and they're going to come hard and they're going to hit them all over the place.
I didn't take Calgary in my final bracket. Maybe I should have, but I've said in the past, I think Calgary's got the team that they could win the cup this year. Like they're big, they're nasty, they can score.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be fun to watch. And is it 3 40-goal scorers in the top line?
I believe so. Yes.
I want to say all 3 guys hit 40 goals. So that's pretty remarkable.
30 for sure.
And Sutter's done some nice things with that team, right? He's an experienced coach as well, so that makes a difference come playoff time.
He's been there a couple times.
Yeah, he's always good for a one-liner too, eh?
Yeah.
All right, so my record today, just through one day of the playoffs here, I'm 2-4, so 50%.
I didn't do so
2
well.
for 4, and 1 for 4 for Bruce at 25%.
Yeah.
It's bound to happen. I mean, whatever, is what it is. We both would have had better records had the Oilers actually pulled it out last night as they were supposed to, but
Would have brought me back up to 50%.
and I would have been at 75%. But what do you do? What do you do? So
Exactly.
all right. So moving on here, we also want to talk about some DraftKings prop bets here, some player specials. Bruce, I'm going to let you pick. These are the 4 that were on DraftKings today. So go ahead. Which one appeals the most to you or is most likely to hit in your opinion?
Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk to combine for 3 points or plus 185. I think that's the most likely one for me.
Okay. I've got to take that Nathan MacKinnon one to record 3+ points. I know it's a big ass 3 points, but plus 600, that's pretty juicy. And against Nashville and David Riddick, I'm going to put a little sprinkle on that one. I'm going to take MacKinnon at plus 600. And I actually think the Panarin and Fox one, 3+ points for Panarin and Fox seems completely doable at plus 225.
I think they're all doable. It's just a matter of which one you want to go with.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with plus 600 Nathan MacKinnon. I think he wants to make a point. He's going to prove a point tonight that they're going to make it past the first round, and this is a big first step.
For sure.
And then kind of the last thing we want to go through here is some DFS picks for the night. This is just part of my lineup here. I went with Sam Bennett, Jonathan Huberdeau, and Claude Giroux, actually. So I took that second line of the Panthers and stacked with Aaron Ekblad. I've got Casey DeSmith here. Now, I know I went and I picked the Rangers, but I just think based on the number of shots that Pittsburgh is going to give up, if DeSmith can post something around a 925 or a 930 save percentage, he's going to post some nice points for you. And if somehow it's a low-scoring affair and he does get the win, he's also going to be rostered in fewer teams, right? So that's the other part of my strategy here is Casey DeSmith is not going to get rostered near as much as Shesterkin will be. So that could play off big for you. And then, of course, Valeri Nichushkin is another guy. My big stack here for the day is Nathan MacKinnon, Valeri Nichushkin, and Cale Makar. I was able to take those 3 guys and actually still fit in Matt Tkachuk, Elias Lindholm, and Shesterkin into my lineup as well in another DFS lineup.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we'll see how that pans out. Bruce, let's go through your lineup.
So for me, I had centers Elias Lindholm, wingers Gaudreau, defenseman Hanifin for the Calgary stack there. Goalie was Igor Shesterkin. He did well for me in the did well for me over the season. So carry him into the playoffs here. And Claude Giroux, who quietly put together a nice little last part of the season after the trade deadline with Florida.
Some nice value there, hey Bruce, at $4,800.
Absolutely, yeah. And then I polished off another lineup with Ryan Strome, Andrew Kopp, Cale Makar, and Brian Rust.
Okay. Sounds good. So there you have it, folks. DFS picks from Devon and Bruce. That's it. We're just going to be really quick, really to the point. We don't want to spend too much time on this. Obviously, want to give people an opportunity to get some information, some feedback on the games for this evening. We will be back again tomorrow with some more information. If you guys want to follow us, we're on Twitter at FHHacks. Instagram at Fantasy Hockey Hacks, and check out our website, fantasyhockeyhacks.com. I should have mentioned at the start of the show, we are a proud member of the Hockey Podcast Network and the official podcast of the Left Wing Lock, your number one source for fantasy hockey intelligence. Use promo code THPN for DraftKings if you are going to sign up. All right, there we have, Bruce. There's our first crack at it. We will get better at this. We will suck less as time goes on.
We got a few weeks.
We got some time to practice, so but not bad for a first shot at it anyway. All right, thanks, my friend. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.